Down to 10 seconds. Maybe that may have hit the post. Coming back out in front with it is Kachuk. He scores! The Florida Panthers are heading to the Stanley Cup Finals. First time the Panthers have ever swept a playoff series.
Since moving to the Carolinas in the late 90s, the Hurricanes have had their fair share of postseason success. Following the 2004-2005 lockout, Rob Brind'Amour and the Canes won the Stanley Cup in '06, something the team was never able to accomplish while in Hartford. Now, despite some postseason success since, there's been one monkey Brind'Amour's Hurricanes cannot get off their back, getting a single win in the Eastern Conference Finals. In 2009, a Hurricanes team, captained by Rob Brind'Amour, needed a pair of dramatic Game 7 wins to get through the first two rounds, setting up a matchup against the reigning champion Pittsburgh Penguins in the East Finals. And when Pittsburgh jumped out to a 3-0 series lead, things went from bad to worse for Carolina.
Talbot goes the other way one-on-one. Talbot fires. Score! A change of pace that puts Pittsburgh in front.
The Hurricanes were swept by the Penguins, a devastating loss that triggered a 9-year absence from the Stanley Cup playoffs. Jumping ahead to the 2018-19 season, Brind'Amour in his rookie campaign behind the Canes bench. After a double overtime Game 7 win against the Capitals and a sweep of the Islanders, the Canes, ghosts from '09, came back to haunt them, finding themselves down 3-0 in the conference finals once again, this time to the Bruins.
Sometimes you gotta eat a poop sandwich. It doesn't taste good. You have to chew on it for a little bit, and we'll have to do it for a couple days and get the taste of our mouths next game.
Inspiring words from Justin Williams aside, the Canes would have to chew on it for yet another offseason, getting blanked 4-0 and being swept yet again in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you guessed it, deja vu once again this season for Brind'Amour and the Kings. Despite facing a Panthers team that backed into that final wildcard spot by just a single point, Carolina suffered a pair of overtime losses in Games 1 and 2, eventually being ousted by Florida once again in a 4-game sweep. So, Craig, another season that ends in disappointment for Carolina, another conference final that ends in disappointment for Carolina, now without a single win in their last 3 conference final appearances. In general, what is holding back this Carolina team from advancing to the Cup final?
Well, I don't think it's general. I think right now, dealing with the last few years, it's specific. And this is a very good Carolina Hurricanes team. Let's make no mistake about it. But they were a little bit smallish, and they needed more scoring. So what did Don Waddell do last summer? He went out and he got Brent Burns, a massive help on the blue line, and he traded for Max Pacioretty, another scorer. So, you know, we can look at where they were maybe falling short in previous years, but Don Waddell went and addressed it. What was unfortunate for the Carolina Hurricanes this year is that Max Pacioretty tore his Achilles, came back, tore it again, and then they lose Svechnikov. These are 2 premier offensive players. When you score 6 goals in 4 games of a conference final, I don't think you have to look any further than the lack of scoring. But I don't think it's not recognizing what they needed. I think they did recognize it. I think Don Waddell made some great moves, but you can't control injuries. And the loss of Svechnikov and the loss of Pacioretty put them into a tough spot. If they were healthy, I think this series might be a little bit different, the outcome certainly, and I don't think it would be a sweep, certainly.
Craig, as always, thank you for this.